Hello students. Okay, this is the last video in the set of videos on ratio and rate. In the previous video we looked at a special rate, which is speed. So what we'll do in this video is look at other rates. Now there's quite a number of different ways of setting these out. Students that have a good sense of ratio and rate can probably work these things out using their own method, which is fine. I'm going to show you the method that I use when I'm first teaching it, because I think it makes it fairly easy for those that are first being introduced to the concept. Okay, question is, a recipe for blueberry muffins requires 150 grams of blueberries, and the recipe makes 12 muffins. Now, this is sort of like a ratio, but again, we've got weight and we've got number of muffins. So it's a rate rather than a ratio because we've got different units. So I'm going to start off in a similar fashion to the way I would do ratio questions, but I can't write the ratio sign. So what I'm going to write is just the word per instead. So I've got 150 grams per 12 muffins. So that's how I start my rate questions, especially if they're not speed, distance, time questions. So that's like 150 to 12, but in this case, because we have different units, we say 150 grams per 12 muffins. Now we actually have 40 muffins. So underneath that, I write 40 muffins, and I want to know how many grams per 40 muffins. Now, the method of solving it is much the same as ratios. You say 12 times what gives us 40. Well, I'm not too sure, so I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. I've got to divide. 40 divide 12. And I get 3.3 recurring. So times 3.3 recurring. And therefore I've got to multiply 150 by 3.3 recurring. 150 by answer, and I get 500. So I went 150 by 3.333, 500, and therefore 500 grams of blueberries. So as you can see, let me just finish writing this. As you can see, the method is very, very similar, but the setting out has to be slightly different. Okay, why don't you try the next question on your own, please, using that as your guide. Okay, let's see how you went. Well, once again, we're going to write it in this format. So it's 5 kilograms. Nope, I'm going to go the other way around, sorry. $12.99 for or per 5 kilograms. So blank dollars for or per 16 kilograms. So once again, what do we multiply 5 by to get 16? Well, let's go ahead and use our calculator. Again, oops, that was the wrong one. Let me get rid of this thing. So we need to go 16 divide 5. And I get 3.2. So I've got to multiply by 3.2. I've got to multiply over there by 3.2. So times 12.99. 3.2 times 12.99 and $41.57 rounded off. So $41.57. That's if we're paying the same amount for 5 kilograms and not getting a discount for 16 kg. And there we go. And that is, oops, no, we have one more question that I want you to try, and then we'll be finished with our videos. Okay, go ahead and try that one, please, on Anzac biscuits. Okay, this is our last question on ratio and rate. A recipe for Anzac biscuits requires 125 grams of butter. That makes 24 cookies. So if you want to make 100 cookies, how much butter do you need to put into the recipe? So we've got 100, we've got 24 cookies per 125 grams of butter. In fact, I'm going to write that the other way around. 125 grams of butter per, well, you could probably write the word 4 in there if you wanted to, 4, but per 24 cookies. And we've got blank grams of butter per 100 cookies. That's roughly 4 times. That's going to be roughly 4 times, but let's do it accurately. Just for the practice, so I need to go 100 divide 24 to work out the multiplier. And 4.16 recurring. And therefore I've got to multiply that by 4.16 recurring. So we're going to multiply that by 125. And we get 520.83. It says answer to the nearest gram, so 521. In real life, of course, a normal cook would probably just make it 500 grams. Okay, so how much butter do we need? If we want to be really precise, 521 grams of butter. And that's it. We've now completed all of the videos on ratio and rate. If you had to remember one thing about ratio and rate, it's pretty much almost all the questions just require you to multiply or divide. And it's just often just a matter of working out which of those two operations is going to give you the right answer. And you can usually figure that out by saying, do I want the answer to be larger than the information given, or do I want it to be smaller? So go and practice some questions out of your textbook on this, and good luck and goodbye.